He goes into the feet of Sven Botman, turns nicely. I'm going to strike here, you know. Oh my word, it's off the bar. Comes out to Jonathan David against the defender. Skamaka. Oh, what on earth is he doing? He gets it back. It's off the post twice. Welcome back, everyone, to the most up and down career mode I have ever played on FIFA 23. In spite of having a squad filled with 80 plus rated players, we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup at the quarter-final stage by Chelsea. We've been knocked out of the group stage of the Champions League in what was a fairly easy group. And we find ourselves in 10th position in the Premier League after 23 games played with only 31 points on the board. And we find ourselves 11 points behind either Man City and Spurs in the final European places. However, with the arrival of this man in the January transfer window and our continued progress knocking Leicester out of the FA Cup in the 4th round, we still have plenty to look forward to this season. And we're going to kick this episode off with two back-to-back games, the first of which is a 3-1 home win against Norwich. St. Maximin, Pobega and Jonathan David getting on the score sheet to give us a much-needed 3 points. But frustratingly, Burnley bring us right back down to earth. A 2-1 loss at home, with Pobega being the only man to get on the score sheet. Zeka for Burnley getting on the score sheet in the 80th minute. And once again, our topsy-turvy season continues. Following on from that result, though, and our elimination from the Champions League, you can see I am teetering on the edge in terms of where the board's concerned. My current status is weak, and to be honest, it's looking pretty unlikely I'm going to be able to make it to the end of the season. Now, one silver lining that we do have is we are still in Europe and we do have a massive game coming up in the Europa League, with the first leg being against Rennais. Now, just like last season, I am going to sim the first leg and then hopefully play the second leg as well. And as you can see, we did manage to get a positive result in the first leg, a 3-2 win away from home with goals from Brennan Johnson, Enzo Fernandez, and also Brennan Johnson again in the 87th minute to give us the win. The frustrating news, though, is Pobega, one of the main man in my midfield, is now suspended for the next leg after what looks like a straight red card in the 53rd minute. And to make matters worse, Alexander Isak, my highest rated striker, has knocked on my door 3 times now, you can see. And to be fair, I've kind of ignored him the last 2 times, but he keeps on knocking and I have to then answer him. He's wondering why he's not getting regular games. Well, I can tell you, mate, it's because you've been absolutely shocking this season. I'm going to keep him sweet as I normally do, but I really don't know what I'm going to do about Alexander Isak's form. And this is what I'm talking about. I've put him back in the squad. I have rotated several of my players due to some European fatigue midweek, but when I do put him back in the squad, he doesn't seem to score. It's 0-0 against Bournemouth at home, and this roller coaster of a season just will not let up. I'm batting off problems left and right here. Bruno Gamara is my club captain, the next man to knock on my door, and he's been doing this all season, demanding to know why the team isn't meeting their demands. Well, to be honest, mate, you are the guy who's out on the pitch. I appreciate I control you a lot of the time, but I don't when I sim the game, and you're still not getting results for me. Right, it is time to put all the negativity behind us now, though, as we have a second leg tie against Stade Rennais to get through today. And judging by our league form this season, it doesn't look likely that we're going to be qualifying for Europe via the Premier League, which makes this game even more important. We won the Europa League last year, and it's looking increasingly likely we're going to have to do the same thing this year as well. It's a full-strength Newcastle United team with the exception of the suspended Pobega. Nick Pope in goal, Livramento, Tamori Botman, Mendes at the back, Kone, Guimaraes, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, Brennan Johnson, St. Maximin and Jonathan David up front. Good start for Rennais here. Cabral now picks it up in the centre in the attacking third and he drives forward now past Tamori. And Nick Pope forced into a good stop. And it looks like Tamori has committed a foul here straight away. A yellow card early doors inside the first 10 minutes here. I didn't really think what I did was too bad there. Okay, yeah, maybe it was. Shoved him in the back. And it looks like it's going to be a free kick in a very dangerous position here. And it's not a free kick, it's a penalty. I made the mistake. I thought it was going to be a free kick. I'm going to dive to the left. And he's made an absolute fool of me. He just dinked it over the top, straight down the middle. And it's 3-3 on aggregate here. What a horrendous way to start this game. Brilliantly taken penalty. Made me look foolish. But absolute sloppiness at the back. And Rennais take an early lead here at St James's Park. Livramento with the free kick here. Goes short to Kone. He goes into the feet of Sven Botman, turns nicely. I'm going to strike here, you know. Oh my word, it's off the bar. Comes out to Jonathan David against the defender. Oh, it's a big opportunity to get ourselves right back in this game. And it's an opportunity wasted. Sven Botman, though, picks it up again. Gives it to St. Maximin. He gives it to Enzo Fernandez. Gives it away. And it's really, really soft from us. We had to take that opportunity and we didn't. Woo for Rennais. What a fantastic name that is. Into camp. He then lays it off to Boloshian, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and he lays it out wide to Doku. Into Cabral now. Tomori needs to be careful as he's on a yellow. Marino, oh, lovely, lovely challenge from Sven Botman. Now I've got to try and play it into the path of Jonathan David. He takes it really nicely. Gonna strike on the left, and it's against the bar again. This is unbelievable. Enzo Fernandez in midfield. Gives it to Kone. Kone's going to look out wide to the right-hand side to Brennan Johnson. I'm going to try and feed a ball right the way to the far post. Into the path of St. Maximin, who absolutely belts it past the goalkeeper with his head. It's a fantastic piece of play from Newcastle. Lovely build-up play. Lovely little ball out wide to Brennan Johnson, who found St. Maximin at the far post with a beautiful cross. And St. Maximin, with a bullet header, sends those fans into absolute raptures. Brilliant, brilliant piece of play. It was Kone, who laid it out wide to Brennan Johnson. And St. Maximin got away at the far post, got ahead of the defender and made no mistake. Gave the keeper absolutely no chance. And it's back on level terms here, 1-1. Mori wins the head, gives it to Bruno Guimaraes. Brennan Johnson into Kone on the right-hand side. I'm going to try and find a ball back across to St. Maximin, and he just couldn't get there before the defender, though, this time. Gives it to Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson finds Kone in the centre of the park. He finds Jonathan David. He was just, the extra runner was being blocked off there, but Jonathan David turns nicely, gives it to Kone. He's going to hit it with his right. Good save from the goalkeeper. Brennan Johnson with another corner here. It's whipped in nicely, and Enzo Fernandez got there at the near post, but again, the goalkeeper blocks it. Going to be another Brennan Johnson corner. I'm going to put it into the exact same place, and in the end, Enzo Fernandez just bundled over, and Jeremy Doku can get it away. Into Benton Cornell, the former Spurs man. He lifts it back out wide to Doku, who's got the pace to try and drive away from Kone, but Kone puts in a lovely challenge. He's absolutely been everywhere so far in this game. He's had a fantastic game ahead of the suspended Pobega. Goes back inside, though, to Bruno Guimaraes. He goes out wide to Livramento. Livramento to try and lift it into the edge of the area. Not good enough for a cross. Kone, though, back to Brennan Johnson. Lifts it back over into the box. There's no one there to meet it. Bruno Guimaraes can try and meet it, though. He gives it to Nuno Mendes on the left-hand side. Mendes still going. Going to try and whip a ball in. It's off the defender, and it's straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. Doku here for Rennais. Nuno Mendes trying to chase him down as there's no one back defending for whatever reason. Doku ends up feeding it back to Bentancur. He gets blocked off, but it comes off to Mori, and eventually it goes back to Emre Can. The danger is not clear, but it is now. Bruno Guimaraes to try and get away with the ball. I'm going to try and lay a pass. Oh, that's a wonderful pass into the path of Brennan Johnson. There's no one across in the box. He lays a nice ball in, but it's blocked off by the defender. End-to-end stuff here as both teams look for a goal. Rennais trying to keep themselves in the game, and we are trying to put the game to bed. It's Bruno Guimaraes now. Goes out wide to the right-hand side to Livramento. Feeds it back in for Kone, who finds himself in the centre. Going to hit it with my left, and it's a big save again from the flying Gomes. Brennan Johnson with another corner here. It's, oh my word, Enzo Fernandez with probably the best goal I have ever scored in this season. Unbelievable bicycle kick to put this game to bed. Fantastic corner from Brennan Johnson. It's his second assist of the game. But Bruno Fernandes, the fans can't believe it. They are ecstatic. Let's check this replay out. Brennan Johnson with the corner in. And Enzo Fernandez, look at that for a goal. Sensational bicycle kick. Gives the keeper no chance. And we now lead 5-3 on aggregate. Gives it to the substitute, Elliot Anderson, who turns really nicely. Going to try and play it into the path of Brennan Johnson. It's a nice ball in to seal this game off. Brennan Johnson does exactly that. It is 3-1 here, 6-3 on aggregate. And Brennan Johnson runs to the cameras to celebrate in front of the fans. It is well and truly game over. Rennais have fallen apart. And it's a lovely ball through from Elliot Anderson, who's come on as a substitute. Brennan Johnson made no mistake from close range. Powers it past the goalkeeper. 3-1. Elliot Anderson, who picks the ball up once again, gives it to Brennan Johnson. Does really nicely to just shift away from the defender. And he drives inside, but gets chopped off in the end. And it's Emre Can to try and escape with the ball. Sven Botman puts in a lovely challenge, though. We continue the press. Now it goes back out to the left-hand side to St. Maximin. He cuts in onto his right-hand side. I'm going to go for an audacious shot. It's blocked off by the defender. The referee blows the whistle. Game over here. And it's a brilliant, brilliant win. Our European dream is still alive. Our Champions League qualification dream is still alive. A fantastic performance after a very difficult opening 10 minutes. Finishes 3-1 here, 6-3 on aggregate, and we are through to the next round. And our good fortune this episode continues, a 4-0 battering of Fulham in the FA Cup. Goals from Brennan Johnson, Enzo Fernandez, Jonathan David, and a second from Brennan Johnson in the 81st minute give us an unassailable lead and send us through to the next round of the FA Cup. It is back to the Premier League though, and it is Wolves up next away at the Molineux, but I can't help but think with the positive results that have been coming our way so far this episode that momentum is starting to shift and we are starting to put a charge on in this second half of the season. With a European tie coming up though straight after this game, I have had to make some enforced changes. Gusto, Fabian Schär, Slotterbeck and Ryan Sessegnon at the back. Pobega, Kone, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, and it's Elise, St. Maximan and Jonathan David as my attacking trio up front. Enzo Fernandez now goes in field to Kone. Kone's got Pobega running ahead of him. Pobega strikes it on his right, and it's blocked off by the defender. Can he get it back? No, he can't. It's Neto now on the right-hand side. He's got great pace to drive down this right-hand side, and he gets away from two of my defenders and lays a ball in. But Slotterbeck so calm, too calm, gives it to Gedson Fernandez, and he puts it wide. Enzo Fernandez in the centre of the park. He's got Pobega to his right, and Pobega now finds Elise even further right. Elise tries to switch it onto his left, but fortunately he gets it back after some pretty dodgy defending into Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez turns. It rebounds back off of the defender. Enzo Fernandez somehow keeps it in play. Kone has it now. Goes out wide to Elise. Wolves keeping it really tight at the back here. Kone to try and hit it onto his left. Straight at the goalkeeper as the referee blows for half-time. Enzo Fernandez in the centre of the park now. I'm going to try and go infield to Jonathan David, who ends up getting challenged by Venisador now as Wolves can try and break. Jonathan David was trying to chase him down. He's continuing to chase down, and he's doing really well to be fair, but Wolves just about keep hold of it, but eventually they lose out, and now we can try and spring a counter-attack here. Enzo Fernandez into Kone. Pobega now. He's got two out wide, one in Elise, and the defender gets there first. Elise has really struggled this season. He's not really been as good as I was hoping, and it's really poor from Fabian Schär. Fabian Schär, who will be retiring at the end of the season, and perhaps that is a reason why, but then he makes me take my words back with a solid challenge. Into Jonathan David now. Jonathan David has the chance to turn away from the defender. He's got a chance to put us 1-0 up, and he does just that. Jonathan David powers past the goalkeeper. Him and Alexander Isak have been really in and out so far this season, but Jonathan David, when I needed him to step up, he did just that. Fantastic finish after some really good work to strike a counter-attack, and Jonathan David gets us up and running here at the Molineux. It is 1-0. It's Kalasic now for Wolves. Wolves try to go out wide to the right-hand side to Gedson Fernandez, who's run onto it really nicely. He's going to try and whip a ball in, and it's Neto in the end who just volleyed it over, and we fell asleep, to be fair. Slotterbeck now. Slotterbeck driving forward here, unopposed, and I'm going to strike it with Slotterbeck. Oh my word, what a fantastic save from the goalkeeper. My centre-back, my left-footed centre-back, struck it with his right, and he forced the keeper into a very, very good save. Pobega's going to take the resulting corner, and he whips a good ball in. Enzo Fernandez tried to get his head on it, but it falls back out to Elise, who gives it to Pobega. Second bite of the cherry, whips it in with his right, and it's going to fall to Jonathan David, who gets his head above the defenders, and he powers us into a 2-goal lead here. It's Jonathan David with his second of the game to give us a cushion we so desperately needed. Jonathan David has it once again. He's been fantastic so far this game. Kone into Enzo Fernandez to put the game to bed, and it's a good save once again from Jose Sarr. Pobega with the corner, whips it in to Jonathan David on the volley, and he's got his hat-trick. As I said earlier, he's been abysmal all season, but he has been sensational today. 3-0 to Newcastle, that man with his hat-trick, and it's a brilliant, brilliant finish and a brilliant game from him. Agerd now for Wolves, lays a nice ball into Kalasic, who sprays a pass out wide to Neto on the right-hand side. He goes in field into Hwang, but Pobega is there to defend nicely. Kone now. Now he lays a ball out wide to the right-hand side to Elise. Elise is going to try and play this into Jonathan David. He does just that. Jonathan David for the fourth. Doesn't fall to him. Falls to Elise. And in the end, it goes out for a Wolves goal kick. And that was the last attack of the game. The referee blows the whistle. It is a comprehensive 3-0 win. That man, Jonathan David, picks up the match ball. Sensational performance from him. I said at the start of the game that it felt like the momentum was starting to swing our way, and this result confirms that theory. 3-0 at full time. And as you can see, after that 6-1 drumming of Stade Rennais across two legs in the Europa League, we've been drawn against Lazio in the round of 16. as per usual, we will sim the opening game and hope we can get a decent result. And it is a decent result. Despite going 1-0 down to an early Scamacca goal inside the opening 10 minutes, Jonathan David and Brennan Johnson pop up with 2 goals that give us the win and put us in a really, really good position heading into the second leg. However, after that game, I'm hit with some good and bad news. Firstly, onto the good news. My captain, Bruno Guimaraes, comes knocking on my door once again, and he just wanted to say thank you very much. He did knock on my door earlier on in the episode to demand why we were not getting the results that were expected of us, but now form has picked up. He seems to be in a much better mood. However, the more negative news is that Alexander Isak, technically my top-rated striker, is absolutely furious. He thinks I'm damaging his career because I'm not playing him, and he wants to leave the football club. And judging from the answers that I'm allowed to give back to him, it looks like I've got no opportunity to try and change his mind. So Alexander Isak, 86 rated, could he be leaving the club in the summer? However, for now, though, it is back to the football, and more importantly, it is back to a quarter-final against unlikely quarter-finalists Burnley. And as you can see from my starting 11, due to some midweek European fatigue, I have had to make a few changes. Nick Pope retains his place in goal, Gusto, Shaw, Slotterbeck, Mendes in defence, Pobega, Kone, Fernandes in midfield, Sinisterra, Elise, and the man who wants away, Alexander Isak, will lead the line up front. 12 minutes in, though, and we've got our first attack of the game, and it is going to be Pobega who's going to collect the ball in midfield. Gives it to Enzo Fernandez. I'm going to go out wide to the left-hand side to Luis Sinisterra now. Checks back in on his right. Going to look for the pass back to Pobega. Had he taken a bit of a heavy touch? I thought he had, but he managed to keep hold of it. It's back to the wall stuff for Burnley at the moment, but we've managed to find some space with Mendes into the box, and it's Alexander Isak, and I think it was Elise who couldn't get their head on it, and frustratingly, it's a big opportunity that goes begging, and now, on the 22nd minute, Burnley have got an opportunity of their own. It's a free kick in a very dangerous position that they whip in really nicely, and Slotterbeck with a big towering header, gets his head on it, and it's Ramsey, though, who picks it up for Burnley. We couldn't quite get there, and it's into Zachary, I think that's how you say his name, picks it up on the left, whips it back in, Burnley get on the end of it. What on earth was Nick Pope doing? It took him about half an hour to dive on the floor. Dominguez with the header gives Burnley the lead here. Right, 44 minutes gone, and we've got the opportunity to try and counter-attack here. And it is going to be Kone that the ball is going to fall to. Whips a ball right over the top into the path of Sinisterra. It's a lovely ball down. He's going to try and strike it. It's against the defender, and it's a good block. Fast forward, though, to the start of the second half, and it is Elise who's going to pick this one up in a fabulous position here. He's running into the box. He's got to finish it. He does. He makes it look easy. A lovely finesse shot past the goalkeeper. And right into the start of the second half, we get a goal back, we equalise here, and surely now we've got to be looking to go on and win this game. But it's Burnley who are going to strike next, as they've got a counter-attacking opportunity in the 53rd minute here, and it's a nice ball into Weghorst, who gets past Sven Botman very, very easily. The player switching's all over the place. Nuno Mendes trying to track back, and in the end, the momentum slightly taken out of it, but they're back in the box, and Weghorst sends it wide. It's a big opportunity as the referee blows the whistle for the end of the game. So we are going to have to face Burnley in a replay. They've managed to get a result here at St James's Park. They will take the game back to Turf Moor. It's a game that, to be honest, I really, really didn't want. It finishes at full time 1-1. And I've got to be honest, as you can see, it has not gone to a replay. It is instead gone to a penalty shootout, and I've blazed this one over the bar. Completely mistimed it from Alexander Isak. I completely forgot that replays... Oh, my word, it's 1-0 Burnley. Completely forgot that replays actually were cancelled now, and it would go straight to penalties. And Jonathan David, oh, my word, we've missed 2 on the bounce. I'm too busy commentating to actually pay attention. Burnley lead 2-0 here, and you have got to be kidding. As it stands right now, it is looking likely that we are about to head out of the FA Cup. Elise, though, fortunately buries that one into the bottom right-hand corner, and we are back in this game. They're going to step up again, though, and they send Nick Pope the wrong way. I have to score here. It is St Maximan who's going to step up here to take this penalty. This is the most important penalty of our season so far, and it's saved by the Burnley goalkeeper. Oh my goodness, we have gone crashing out of the FA Cup, and deservedly so. Burnley have been fantastic. They took the better penalties, they make us pay, and they have dumped us out of the FA Cup. And just like last season, having been unexpectedly knocked out of the FA Cup, all of our hopes now rest on Europa League glory. Before we get onto that though, you can see that Manchester City have come in for a bid of 83.4 million for that man Alexander Isak. After a little bit of negotiation, my assistant manager seemed to think I'd be able to get 116 million for him, and as you can see, Pep Guardiola had no interest whatsoever in that. Talks break down, and Alexander Isak's route out of the club continues. However, in an unlikely turn of events, I've now got him knocking on my door telling me that he's willing to play as a midfielder in order to be part of my plans. I don't really understand what is going on with this game. I'm going to tell him I'm pleased with his attitude, but this is classic FIFA logic. It's enough of the madness for now though, as we head back to the football, and more specifically back to a second leg tie in the Europa League away at Lazio. And with such a big game, it is of course the return to my usual first 11 and my strongest first 11. Nick Pope, Liverum Enzo, Tamori, Botman, Mendes at the back, Pobega, Gourmares, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, St. Maximan, Brennan Johnson and Jonathan David up front. Jonathan David now into Enzo Fernandez. I'm going to try and look for a ball out to the left-hand side to St. Maximan. It's a good ball. Can Brennan Johnson get there first with his head? He can, and he forces the keeper into a really good stop. Early pressure here from Newcastle United, just the way I would have wanted us to start. Pobega picks it up, shapes it to strike on his left, and he forces the keeper into his second big stop inside the opening 6 minutes. It's a corner for Pobega, whips it in really nicely, and it's headed away from the Lazio defenders. Bruno Gourmares though, back out wide to Pobega, whips it back in, across the box, into St. Maximan, and it's a 1-0 lead that we get early doors here inside the opening 10 minutes. St. Maximan with a massive header to give us a 3-1 lead on aggregate, and that is exactly what we needed to kickstart this game. It's Luis Alberto for Lazio, gives it to Marcos Antonio now. He goes out wide to Kalmadine Sulemana, and Sulemana's got ample space and pace to run into here. Livramento tries to track him down, and Livramento, to be fair to him, puts a really good challenge in. Pobega though, Arnold almost got in there ahead of Bruno Gourmares, but Gourmares gets blocked off by Suso, and Arnold now, this has the ball for Lazio, sorry. This is a great response from them. Scamacca out to Suso again, and it's a really, really poor piece of play from Arnold. They had the opportunity to strike and they didn't take it. And I say thank you very much as Nick Pope just rolls it back out to him. What on earth are we doing? Scamacca, what on earth is he doing? He gets it back. It's off the post twice. It's off both posts. The action is so fast I can't even keep up with my commentary. St. Maximan clears it away to Nuno Mendes. Oh my goodness, how on earth have we managed to keep this game at 1-0, as Mendes now drives down this left-hand side, cuts back in, looks for Enzo Fernandez, strikes, it's blocked off by the defender. End-to-end stuff here to start this game off. Absolutely sensational. Bruno Gourmares now into Enzo Fernandez. He turns nicely, finds Pobega. Pobega on his left. He forces the goalkeeper into his third biggest save of the game. Pobega with a corner here. I'm going to try and whip this one in to the head of Enzo Fernandez. I thought it was going to fall to Jonathan David, but it didn't. But Bruno Gourmares is able to pick it up. Brennan Johnson into Pobega. Pobega whips it in with his left, and Enzo Fernandez went for his second acrobatic bicycle kick, but unfortunately this time it didn't quite come off for him. St. Maximan now. St. Maximan turns nicely and looks for Jonathan David. Finds Jonathan David. I was actually looking for Nuno Mendes. Jonathan David gives it back to Bruno Gourmares. Strikes. And it's another big hand from the goalkeeper. Lazio have got a free kick here. 50 minutes played in a very dangerous position. It's a Stade who picks this one up. Sulemana finds himself on the right-hand side. Sven Botman tried to get a challenge in. And Sulemana, with an absolute screamer on the edge of the box, hit it with his left. Found himself on the right-hand side of my box, and he absolutely lashed it past Nick Pope. Gave him no chance whatsoever, and frustratingly for us, after a really, really good first half, Lazio find themselves back in this game. Bruno Gourmares into Pobega. Pobega goes out wide to the right-hand side to Livramento. Livramento comes back in. I'm just looking for some sort of option, and I found Jonathan David. First time ball into Enzo Fernandez. Steve read that one really well, and now Lazio can try and counter-attack. As it stands at the moment, we are still going through as it's 3-2 on aggregate, but we cannot do anything stupid here as Suso, he does really nicely to get away from St. Maximan, I think it was, lays it back into the centre to Felipe Anderson. It's great play here. Mendes, he gives it straight away to Sulemana, and he hits it straight at Nick Pope. That was a massive Lazio opportunity, and they didn't take it. My word, we got away with one there. Romagnoli for Lazio brings the ball forward really nicely. It's Luis Alberto now. Nice feet to get away from Bruno Guimaraes. Plays it into Scamacca. Scamacca challenged by Tomori. Tomori won that back really well. Sven Botman, this is our chance to try and launch a counter-attack. Enzo Fernandez down the left-hand side to Saint-Maximin. Has he managed to stay on side? Yes, he has. Into Bruno Guimaraes. It's into the back of the net, and it is now 4-2 on aggregate, 2-1 here, and it is just what the doctor ordered. It's a brilliant way to respond to some heavy Lazio pressure, and that takes a huge weight off our shoulders. It's a fantastic lightning counter-attack. Saint-Maximin, unselfish, played it across to Bruno Guimaraes, and inside the 6-yard box, it was impossible from him to miss there, and he gives us a 2-1 lead here, 4-2 on aggregate, and as it stands, we are going through to the next round. Lazio have a free kick here in a really dangerous position. They continue to march forward in spite of just conceding a goal, and it looks like Arnold's going to go for goal himself, and it's off the post, I think it was. Felipe Anderson for Lazio, trying to play it into Scamacca. Bruno Guimaraes with a great challenge though. Enzo Fernandez now to try and bring the ball forward. Plays it into Jonathan David. Jonathan David has time. He gets bundled over by the defender, but somehow manages to keep the ball, and it's a great save from the goalkeeper. That would have been the final nail in the coffin, but the referee instead puts the final nail in the coffin as the referee blows the whistle for full time. Nick Pope celebrates with Tomori. It's a brilliant way to end this game. 4-2 on aggregate. It's a brilliant, brilliant performance, and we sail through to the next round of the Europa League. And we're going to finish off this episode with a comprehensive 4-2 drumming of Fulham at Craven Cottage. Enzo Fernandez, Elise, the potential departing Alexander Isak, and Ryan Sessegnon all getting on the score sheet to give us a much-needed 3 points. And overall, whilst we did get a very disappointing exit at the hands of Burnley in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, I'm feeling pretty confident as to how this episode has gone. We find ourselves in the quarter-finals of the Europa League, where we will be facing the team that we beat in last year's final, Arsenal. However, whilst we have managed to claw our way up to 9th place in the Premier League, we only have 41 points to our name, and we now sit 17 points behind Manchester United in the last Champions League spot. So I think I'm pretty confident in saying that our Champions League qualification via the Premier League is all but done. And that means heading into the last episode of Season 3, all of our eggs are well and truly in the Europa League basket if we want to see silverware this season, and if we want to see Champions League football next season as well. But that is it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please feel free to like and subscribe, and of course, I will see you again next time.